The Lakers have LeBron, Anthony Davis, and now officially AD waives his trade kicker. The Lakers have $32 million, so here you go. They must know something, right?
Well, I mean, this is big news because they were not going to be able to be realistically in the running for any of these max players.
All right, so let's go to Ian Begley. Ian, of course, SNY in New York, covers the Nets and the Knicks. So let's go to our phone for this. So Kyrie Irving is one of the players that has been mentioned. But Ian, give me your insight. I've been told he's going to be a Brooklyn Net. What are you hearing about Kyrie and the Nets? Because if this Lakers story just came out, Kyrie is one of the big names mentioned. What do you hear with Kyrie?
Well, listen, the teams chasing Kyrie all have seen the Nets as the odds-on favorite for several weeks. Somebody who is connected to Kyrie said before the Anthony Davis deal went down that the only way the Lakers would have a shot at Kyrie is if they did the deal before the draft and were able to create enough cap space to bring him in. And obviously they did that. So, I wouldn't, people around the league don't see the Lakers as out of it on anybody as far as max stars go, particularly after this transaction that you guys just mentioned. But everybody who's paying attention to Irving's free agency, again, sees the Nets as the odds-on favorite as we head towards Sunday evening.
Kevin Durant, not a Laker. Nobody thinks that. What are you hearing about Durant on the East Coast?
Well, I don't think anybody has a strong read on this thing right now because I think they've gone pretty silent, Durant and the people around him. But no team believes they're out of it. And that includes the Knicks. I think the Knicks believe that they still have a shot here with Kevin. Obviously, the Nets think they have a shot. And then you have Golden State looming with that monster offer that they can offer Kevin if they so choose. And then you have the Clippers. So I don't think any team has been given any indication one way or the other that they're fully out of it. Again, heading into Sunday, here we are 4 days from the start of free agency.
Okay, you covered this year D'Angelo Russell. So if I was a Laker fan, I would say, well, if he's so great, why are you letting him go? Can you give us the truth with D'Angelo Russell? Because, Ian, when he was in Los Angeles, Magic didn't like him. Major maturity issues. It did not go well. Was not liked in the locker room. Is he a different young man this morning?
Oh, listen, I heard the same thing in Los Angeles, but I can only speak to my experiences with D'Angelo covering the Nets, especially the latter part of this season. He was polite with the media. He was a gentleman with us. People around the net organization said he was mature. They said that they were well aware of the red flags that came with him from L.A. when they traded for him, but that was not their experience at all. And I think that the veterans on that Net team, Jared Dudley, Damari Carroll, others, really helped D'Angelo understand the importance of taking care of his body and being cognizant at all times of the importance of what you put in your body and how much work you put in between games. I think that really rubbed off on Russell. And part of the reason why you saw the success that you did from Russell this season, obviously making the All-Star team and helping lead that net club to the playoffs.
Well, stories coming out. Anthony Davis has waived the kicker. So the Lakers now have $32 million. All your sources around the league, I know you're on the East Coast, but, you're also tri-state area around Jimmy Butler. Butler's going to be one of the four guys. Butler, Kyrie, D'Angelo, Kawhi Leonard are the four guys the Lakers appear to be interested in. What do you hear about Jimmy Butler?
The interesting thing to me is the other day, several teams had relayed that they had interest in pursuing both Kawhi and Jimmy Butler and pairing those guys up. And that was from, teams in contact with both camps. And, I think that you look at the Clippers and they could get to the space to get both of those guys if you move Danilo Gallinari. Obviously, the Nets have that. The Knicks have that space, and the Nets have that space. But I do know that several teams, maybe even teams outside of those three, have strong interest in pairing Jimmy and Kawhi together. Obviously, with Jimmy, though, it starts in Philadelphia. If Philadelphia is comfortable, if their ownership is comfortable offering him that 5-year max, he stays there. But, there's uncertainty there, how ownership feels about going the full 5 years and the full max there. And if that's the case, I believe Jimmy wants all his money, so he's either going to leave and sign and trade, ESPN reported Houston being possible there, or he's going to get max money from another team. I think it starts in Philly with Jimmy, and again, wouldn't rule out the idea of Kawhi and Jimmy pairing up somewhere.
All right, Ian, we got to run. Thank you very much. We appreciate you stopping by. Here we go. This is the big story. This is the breaking news. So Anthony Davis has waived his kicker, and they've traded parts to the Washington Wizards. So that means LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kyle Kuzma, they have money for a max player. The 4 players, and I'll just tell you my gut feeling on this, the 4 players that have the highest percentage chance to land there are Jimmy Butler, number 1. I don't think it's Jimmy Butler. I think Philadelphia is going to max him. I think Philadelphia needs a shooter and a scorer. So even though Jimmy Butler is in Los Angeles all the time, about 2 weeks ago I saw a video of Mark Wahlberg and Jimmy Butler hanging out at his home in Los Angeles. I don't think it's Jimmy Butler. I don't. I also think Houston is desperate to get Jimmy Butler. I think Houston's more desperate than the Lakers are for Jimmy Butler. So I think between Philadelphia and Houston, even though Jimmy likes Los Angeles, I think that's where Butler lands. Kyrie Irving, I've never bought into it. Anthony Davis and LeBron are a little less flaky. Kyrie's injury prone. He is an East Coast guy. The source I trust told me Kyrie wanted to stay in the East. His dad wanted him to stay in the East. I'm told it's the Nets. I would eliminate him. Kawhi Leonard. I think the Clippers have the upper hand. I think it's a 2-team race. I think he may give the Lakers an interview. I believe that to be true. But I think it's Clippers and Toronto, though I have no insight with Kawhi Leonard. My feeling on this is D'Angelo Russell. That's what my gut tells me on this. D'Angelo Russell, I don't know if you'd have to pay him 32. If you could convince him to come for less than that and then get a bench guy or a 5th starter, I also think D'Angelo, he's a shooter. Now, he's more of a mid-range guy than a 3 guy, but he can play point when LeBron hits the pine. He can move over to the 2 when LeBron has the ball. Their games probably work pretty well together. Immaturity, he left L.A., he comes back. Reportedly, Magic was not a fan of D'Angelo. Everybody else was okay with him. Everybody else in-house was okay with him. Magic didn't like him. Magic, though, mature for his age, very much about business. Magic's not into the nonsense. It's all about the commerce. So Magic was just tired of his nonsense. This feels to me, I know it's late. I think D'Angelo Russell feels like the fit here. And I wonder if you'd have to pay him 32. Could you pay him a little bit less and then convince him to take just a tad less? And then I do believe if your team is LeBron, top 1 or 2 player in the league, Anthony Davis, top 5 or 6 player, D'Angelo, top 20, 25 player, Kuzma, one of the 15, 20 best young players, then they would be favored for the NBA championship. What really takes me back, and I feel bad for the Clippers, the Lakers, and I don't think this is even an opinion, they've had a great deal of dysfunction for the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, Magic joining, Magic quitting, Rob Pelinka, Magic not getting along, losing record. There's just been a lot of chaos around the Lakers for 2 and 3 years. But it shows you the power of the brand is that when a Michigan football, a Yankee baseball, a Laker, a Celtic, a Dallas Cowboy, you can be down. Alabama football was down for a while. But when you get the right coach or the right people, you rebound incredibly fast. It is going to be so painfully ironic if the Lakers land AD and D'Angelo Russell and the Clippers don't land anybody. I mean, that's going to be like, you talk about the power of branding, because between Steve Ballmer, Jerry West, Doc Rivers, the locker room this year, Clippers did everything right. probably the most overachieving team in the league. They did scouting right. I mean, they won a trade with the Lakers on Zubats. They won everything. They did everything right. The Lakers did virtually everything wrong. And the power of the brand, they now have room for another max player with the Lakers.
Well, I mean, you could say it's the power of the brand or LeBron. Rich Paul doesn't look also so crazy now that all this is playing out. But I think they still need shooters.
Well, D'Angelo is a shooter, but he's more a mid-range. He's a scorer. He's not a natural shooter. He's like Kyle Kuzma's a scorer. I wouldn't call him a shooter. Klay Thompson's a shooter.
No, they need a shooter.
Yeah,
they really should get JJ Redick.
Oh, I'd love to see that. And JJ, did I ever tell you JJ Redick found my, I lost my dog one time, and JJ Redick found him. No, in Manhattan Beach. I was looking at a house with my wife, and my dog got loose, and JJ Redick was looking at a house in our neighborhood and came and said, hey, I found somebody's dog. He was very nice. JJ was very nice.
Well, I think
he was upset that it was my dog.
He was upset it was your dog?
No. I'm joking. Yeah, let it go out into the street after that. But no, Redick had a house in Manhattan Beach. Very much an LA guy, likes it here. I don't think he loved being a Clipper. I don't think it's crazy. I said this a week ago. Darren Collison, Patrick Beverley, JJ. Now, do you sacrifice that and go get a 4? I got to be honest with you. This is suddenly very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Kyrie. I don't think it's Butler. I think Houston and Philly are desperate for Butler. Lakers aren't desperate for him. I think Kyrie's going to stay on the East Coast, and I think Kawhi Leonard has 2 teams. He may visit the Lakers. I don't think he'll be sold on the Lakers. Joy with the news.